You've been insulted. The room falls silent. Eyes turn toward you, waiting for your reaction. Do you lash out? Do you defend yourself? Do you burn with anger inside? The Stoics believed it is not the insult that harms you, it is your interpretation of it. Marcus Aurelius himself endured ridicule from senators, whispers from his rivals, and the betrayal of his closest generals. And yet, history does not remember him as the man who fought petty insults. It remembers him as the emperor who mastered himself. So today, I'll give you 5 clever Stoic responses when someone insults you. These are not about winning an argument, but about winning your own mind, about turning every insult into an opportunity for wisdom. Let's begin with response 1, a move so subtle and powerful, it disarms your enemy without you lifting a finger. Response 1, silence that cuts deeper than words. When someone insults you, your first instinct is to fire back. But the Stoics taught that silence is often the strongest reply. Epictetus said, "When someone provokes you, remember, it is not he who insults you, but your judgment that you are insulted." By staying silent, you show 2 things. Their words cannot penetrate you. You value your peace over their noise. Imagine this. You're at a gathering and someone mocks you in front of others. The crowd laughs, waiting to see how you'll react. But instead of snapping, you pause, you breathe, and you simply look at them with calm eyes. You let the moment pass. The laughter dies. The insulter looks uneasy. The crowd shifts its attention. In that moment, you've won, not by clashing swords, but by refusing to enter the battlefield. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." By staying silent, you rob them of what they wanted most, your anger, your loss of control. Why silence works? It's unexpected. People expect fire, not stillness. Silence shocks. It shows dominance. You demonstrate you're above the insult. It leaves them questioning themselves. Often, they'll look weaker for trying to provoke you. This isn't weakness, it's strategy. Just like a general who refuses to fight a foolish battle, your silence is calculated power. Practical example. A colleague says, "Wow, you really messed that up. Typical of you." Instead of arguing, you simply look at them calmly, nod once, and continue your work. No words, no defense. They expect anger. Instead, they face indifference. And that indifference is louder than any insult. This is the first clever Stoic response: silence. Not empty silence, but the silence that says, "Your words are too small to touch me." In the next part, we'll go deeper into response 2, where the Stoics flip the insult back on the attacker, turning their mockery into your victory. The insult is thrown, sharp, quick, designed to wound. Most people answer, fire with fire, but the Stoics knew another way, one that doesn't just protect your mind, but flips the entire situation in your favor. This is response 2, humor and Stoic wit. The Stoic power of turning an insult into a joke. Epictetus said, "If someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself against his accusations. Simply reply, 'Yes,' and he doesn't know the half of it." This is not weakness, it's brilliance. When you answer an insult with humor, you do 3 things. You break their weapon. Their insult loses its sting. You shift the crowd. People admire wit over anger. You expose their pettiness. Instead of looking clever, the insulter looks foolish. A Stoic example. Cato the Younger, the Roman senator, was mocked in public for wearing simple clothing. His rivals sneered, saying he dressed like a beggar. Cato smiled and said, "Better to be a beggar in cloth than a beggar in character." The crowd erupted in laughter, not at Cato, but at his accusers. His humor shielded him, turned their insult into a reflection of their own weakness. How humor disarms insults. Let's break it down with a modern example. You're in class or at work. Someone sneers. "Wow, you're really slow at this." Instead of defending yourself, you smirk and say, "Good thing I'm not in a race then." The tension breaks. People chuckle. The insult dissolves into thin air. Or suppose someone mocks your appearance. "You really think that haircut looks good?" You grin and reply, "Not really, but I thought I'd give you something to talk about." In that moment, you've turned the stage around. You are no longer the victim. You are the conductor of the room's attention. The Stoic secret in humor Seneca once wrote, "A wise man is not harmed by mockery, for he knows the weight of words." To a Stoic, humor is not about cleverness alone, it's about showing mastery. You are proving to yourself and others, your insult cannot disturb me, I can even laugh at it. This is the ultimate freedom, because when you can laugh at yourself, no one else's laughter can enslave you. Practical techniques for humor in insults. Agree exaggeratedly. If someone says, "You're terrible at this," you can reply, "Terrible? I'm legendary at it." By exaggerating, you take the poison out of the insult. Redirect with playfulness. If someone mocks your habit, reply with something unexpected and lighthearted. Example, "You're too quiet." You, "I save my words for the sequel." Turn it into philosophy. Someone says, "You failed again." You smile. Yes, failure is the tuition fee of wisdom. Suddenly, the insult becomes your teaching moment. Why humor is a weapon of the wise. Because anger shows you've been wounded, but humor shows you're untouchable. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Humor is the proof. It shows you own your reaction, and you can even make light of darkness. Think about the difference between two people. Person A snaps, yells, defends themselves when insulted. They look weak, shaken, and predictable. Person B smirks, delivers a clever reply, and moves on. They look confident, calm, and above the petty noise. Who do people respect? Who do they follow? Always the one who can laugh. When a man hurls an insult, he is not describing you, he is describing himself. His anger, his envy, his insecurity, all these spill out in words aimed at you. The Stoics knew this truth, and they built a weapon from it. This weapon is response 3, the Stoic mirror, the idea of the mirror. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When another blames you or hates you, or when men voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside, and see what kind of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you." In other words, their insult is not about you. It is a reflection of their mind. If they insult your appearance, it reveals their obsession with looks. If they mock your effort, it shows their fear of failure. If they ridicule your choices, it exposes their lack of courage to live differently. When you hold the mirror, you see the truth. The insult belongs to them, not you. Practical Stoic mirror in action. Imagine someone says, "You're so weak, you can't handle anything." Instead of being provoked, you calmly reply, "Strange, you speak of weakness while wasting your strength on me." Or suppose they sneer, "You'll never be successful." You smile and say, "That says more about how you measure success than about me." Do you see? The mirror exposes their mindset. Instead of defending yourself, you make them face their own reflection. Historical example: Socrates, the mirror. Socrates was often insulted in the marketplace of Athens. People mocked his shabby clothing, his strange face, his relentless questioning. Once, a man shouted, "Socrates, you're ugly as a donkey." Socrates replied, "Yes, and would you not say it is fitting that a donkey should bear the weight of wisdom better than a horse?" The insult turned into a mirror. The crowd laughed, but they also saw the attacker's bitterness laid bare. Why the mirror works. It reveals projection. People often attack others for the very flaws they fear in themselves. It forces self-reflection. Your calm reply makes them think, even if they don't admit it. It protects your peace, because you know their words are shadows of their own soul, not a judgment of yours. Modern mirror responses you can use. Insult: "You're such a loser." Mirror: "Strange that winning matters so much to you." Insult: "You're so arrogant." Mirror: "Interesting. It took arrogance to assume that." Insult: "You'll never be enough." Mirror: "For you, perhaps not, but I was not made for your approval." Each response is not angry, not defensive. It is calm, sharp, reflective. The Stoic philosophy behind it, Epictetus, said, "Remember, it is not he who reviles you or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting." The mirror is that philosophy in practice. It reminds you, I am not what they say. I am what I choose to be. And it shows them. Your insult is a confession of your own state of mind. The sharpest sword is not always swung, it is asked. When someone insults you, they expect anger, defense, or retreat. What they never expect is a question that freezes them, a question that makes them reflect, a question that reveals their ignorance. This is response havar, the philosophical question, the power of a question. Socrates mastered this. He never fought insults with fury. He asked questions that exposed the emptiness of his opponent's words. When someone called him a fool, he would calmly ask, "Tell me, what is wisdom then?" The insult collapsed because the attacker was forced to define what he himself did not understand. Marcus Aurelius carried the same weapon. His meditations are filled with self-questioning, turning attacks inward into reflection. He wrote, "Does another's fault truly injure you? Look within. You will see it is your judgment that does." In other words, questioning turns poison into medicine. How the philosophical question works: when insulted, instead of replying with defense or wit, you ask a calm, piercing question that exposes the weakness in the insult. Insult: "You're useless." Question: "Useless for what?" Insult: "You'll never succeed." Question: "And what do you mean by success?" Insult: "You're a failure." Question: "According to whose measure, yours or mine?" Notice how each reply does two things. It forces the attacker to think. It shifts the power back to you. Historical example: Epictetus and the mockers. Epictetus was once mocked for his limp, the result of his master breaking his leg in slavery. A man sneered, "You walk like a cripple." Epictetus replied calmly, "Do you mock the body or the soul?" The man had no answer, because a limp may belong to the body, but Epictetus's soul walked taller than kings. That one question silenced the cruelty. Modern example: a workplace insult. Picture this. In a meeting, someone smirks and says, "You really don't know what you're doing, do you?" Instead of defending yourself, you ask, "Interesting. What would knowing look like to you?" Now the focus is on them. They must define knowledge, competence, and their own standards. In trying to justify the insult, they stumble. The crowd sees their weakness, why this works. It confuses aggression. Attackers expect anger, not inquiry. It demonstrates calm mastery. You become the philosopher, not the victim. It elevates the conversation from petty attack to higher reflection. It shifts power instantly. The attacker must answer your terms, not theirs. Stoic reminder. Seneca said, "He who is insulted is not dishonored, but he who insults." The question is your proof of this truth. By calmly seeking meaning, you show that the insult lacked it from the start. Practical questions you can keep ready. What do you mean by that? According to what measure? Why does that matter to you? And how does that reflect on me more than on you? These are not sarcastic. Delivered calmly, they cut deeper than any witty comeback. Every insult is a stone. Most people collect these stones until their back breaks under the weight. But the Stoic builds a fortress with them. This is the final response, transforming insults into strength. The Stoic alchemy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The insult is not an obstacle. It is material. Material for growth, material for resilience, material for transformation. When someone mocks your weakness, you use it as a mirror. Then you train that weakness into strength. When they laugh at your failure, you use it as fuel. Then you rise higher than they imagined. When they sneer at your path, you use it as proof that you're walking a road too great for them to understand. The insult becomes your weapon. Historical example, Cleanthes, the boxer. Cleanthes, once a poor boxer, worked as a water carrier in Athens. People mocked him, saying, "You're nothing but a mule carrying buckets." Instead of being crushed, Cleanthes took pride in it. He said, "Then let me be the mule who carries wisdom to men." That insult, mule, became his strength. He rose to become the head of the Stoic school, respected even by kings. The insult became a crown. Modern example, from mockery to mastery picture, a student ridiculed for being quiet, called mute, awkward, boring. Instead of drowning in shame, he turned silence into a strength, becoming the sharp listener, the observer, the strategist who sees what others miss. Years later, he leads, not by shouting, but by commanding with quiet authority. The very thing mocked became his edge. How to use insults as fuel, listen without attachment. The insult is sound. You decide if it enters, extract the truth, if any. Sometimes hidden in the mockery is a clue. If they call you undisciplined, perhaps discipline is the next mountain to climb. Convert pain into energy. Don't burn with rage, burn with purpose. Train, improve, rise, rewrite the narrative. Let the insult become your identity, not as a wound, but as a scar you wear with pride. Epictetus' lesson. Epictetus, born a slave, was mocked for his chains, yet he said, "No man is free who is a slave to his body." He turned the greatest insult, his slavery, into the greatest wisdom. Freedom is of the soul, not of circumstance. His mockery became philosophy. His insult became immortality. Why this is the final response? Because all other responses, silence, wit, the mirror, the question, are about defense. This one is about offense. It does not merely stop the insult. It uses it. It transforms it. It grows stronger because of it. This is what makes Stoicism undefeatable. Practical example. You can use insult. You're too sensitive. Strength. Sensitivity becomes empathy, making you a better leader and friend. Insult. You're obsessed with details. Strength. Detail becomes precision, the skill that sets you apart. Insult. You're stubborn. Strength. Stubbornness becomes persistence, the very quality needed to win. Every insult contains a hidden seed of strength if you choose to plant it.